Hi everyone, it's Melissa, and today I wanted to share with you my reading goals for 2022. So this year I am definitely pulling back on most of my goals, making things more manageable. I am a very goal-oriented person. I love checklists. I love the challenge of it. And I enjoyed working on those goals that I set last year. However, I have a big career change happening this year, just too much in my life to, I think, go maybe full out on my reading goals. So I'm definitely pulling back just to make things doable, as I know this year I might not have as much time to focus on some of these things. So the first goal of the year is actually really a non-goal, I suppose. So it's the number of books I want to read. And last year I reduced the number because I wanted to focus on the quality over quantity of books. And I set my goal at 70 and I read 71, so it was definitely doable. But I still felt like I may have avoided really long books last year, and I don't want to do that. So I was hemming and hawing over, well, what number should I make it? 52? Should I make it this, that, the other? And I just thought, you know what? Don't set a number goal. So this year, I am not setting a number goal for the number of books I want to read this year. And I think that might subconsciously help me to not steer away from those really big chunky books that I want to read. So goal number one is to not have a number goal at all. Goal number two is, I guess it's kind of like an A and B goal. So last year I had a lot of different categories of things I wanted to do. I wanted to read one poetry collection a month. I wanted to read one nonfiction. I wanted to read certain percentage of international and Canadian literature. And I had all of these very quantifiable goals that I wanted to hit. And while that was fine for last year, again, this year I don't think that's reasonable. So I really cut down those very specific finer goals to just two that are things I really want to focus on. I'm going to keep the reading one nonfiction book a month at least. I actually want to read more nonfiction this year, but we're just going to keep it at one per month. And the other thing is I really want to focus on Canadian authors this year. As a Canadian, it's important to me to kind of understand CanLit and kind of what's going on in the world of Canadian literature. And I am woefully ignorant. I don't read a lot of Canadian books, and I really want to change that this year. I've set a goal to read one Canadian author per month. So my goal number two, A, is one nonfiction a month, and B is one Canadian book per month. My goal number three is to get my unread books down, so my physical books. I have a lot of books on my shelf that I haven't read, mostly because my husband was like the big book buyer years ago, and he brought a lot of books into our relationship, and a lot of them I want to read. And then, of course, I've bought my own books. So altogether, there are many books on these shelves that I haven't read. I'm actually going to do a separate video on my unread books because I filmed one last year and I'd like to do an update. But my goal is to get my unread books down to 150. I can do this by reading books, but also by DNFing them, by unhauling them if I've lost interest in them. However I get them down, I would like to get my unread books down to 150. Goal number four is to finish series. I have a lot of series on the go, and I would like to continue many of them, but finish at least two. And I am counting anything that's like a duology plus as a series. So yes, I would like to continue more than two series, but definitely complete two series this year. Goal number five is to reread 5 books. Last year, I wanted to reread 10, and I only reread 3. And that was just a real travesty because I really do want to prioritize rereading books. I think 10 is too lofty of a goal this year, especially considering I couldn't even do it last year. So I'm going to go with 5, and I really am going to make a better effort at that this year. Goal number 6 is to read specific books. So last year I made a completely separate video. This year I'm just lumping it in with my goals. Last year I chose 10 books that I wanted to read in 2021, and I got to 7 of them. One of them I DNF'd, but will probably pick back up. And the other 2, I kind of just took them off the list, actually, because they weren't at my library, they weren't at my local bookstores, like I couldn't get my hands on them. So this year I'm dialing it back from 10. This is the year of dialing back my goals, and I am choosing 5 books that I want to read. I'm not going to talk about them in length. They are Beloved by Toni Morrison, Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin, East of Eden by John Steinbeck, and Being Mortal by Atul Gawande. I didn't actually write down the authors' names, so if I've messed that up, everything will be in the description below. And my last goal of the year is one that's like for my own fun and enjoyment, and hopefully for your enjoyment as well. But for the last couple of years that I've had my channel, I've done kind of a little year-ish long video series. So the first year I had my channel, I did a series called I've Never Read, where I was reading different genres, authors, etc. that I hadn't read before. And last year I did Pop Culture Osmosis, which was where I predicted what would happen in very famous books I hadn't read before. And I want to do another kind of year-ish long series, probably every other month, so I'm planning on about 6 videos. And this year I want it to be about revisiting books, because recently I've been thinking quite often about a few books that I wanted to revisit, either because someone has talked about them on their BookTube channel and their descriptions are just made me think like, oh, that's not how I remember that book being, or I've seen a blog post or a friend has talked about a book or something, and it's just sparked me to want to pick up books that I previously didn't get on with. I'm not going to be revisiting things that I didn't like that I read like last couple of years, say, because I'm pretty sure my reading tastes haven't changed in the last 2 years, but I'm talking about things that I tried like 8, 9, 10 years ago and remember disliking. So this year I will be doing a year-long video series where I read books that I have either disliked or have DNF'd in the past. So those are my reading goals for 2022. Leave a comment below telling me what you hope to accomplish in your reading life this year. I would love to have a chat with you. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll chat soon. Take care. Bye.